College and Career Success. Well, we made it through week 1 and we are on to week 2. So hopefully you are starting to get a little bit more familiar with how to navigate the course and just how to make sure that you're getting in and getting everything accomplished. So I am going to make sure that we are at the lessons page. And I do want to point out that the workshops are open and available to be registered for. I did upload a regular video just to kind of walk you through just the workshop. So it's only like 3 minutes long or so. And it just talks about the workshops because those are something you need to be thinking of even though you have until the end of the semester. All right, so week 2, if you have not already done so, please go ahead and take a look at the chapter 1 lecture video. This week we are in our first actual chapter. This goes over chapter 1 of our textbook. And so if you will, please make sure that you watch the lecture video or read the chapter or both, or the PowerPoint, or just interact with the materials in some way to make sure that you have a good basis for the assignments that are coming up. All right, so in week 2, as I mentioned, we're in chapter 1, and here are the list of your assignments that you'll be completing this week. So like last week, you will have a discussion forum. You need to post your original response by Wednesday for week 2 attendance. Now, if you miss the attendance deadline, you can still post for partial credit. So let's say it's Friday, you forgot to post by Wednesday, still post because you can get 50% attendance and you get points for the forum in general. You get points for posting your original response and responding to classmates. So there's still points to be had, even if you post a little late for attendance purposes. You'll have 2 assignments for chapter 1. Not every chapter will have 2 assignments like that. Chapter 1 just happens to have those. And then the chapter 1 quiz. So all the materials that you'll need are found in here, and this was talked about in the lecture video. You have your chapter 1 text, so you can open that up and reference anything there from the textbook, and then you have the chapter 1 slides. Again, excuse me, both of which I did talk about inside the actual chapter 1 lecture video. So I'm going to go ahead and get into the assignments so you can see exactly what it is you're doing this week. All right, so first up is your chapter 1 discussion. So remember, you are aiming for 150 words or more. So I was pretty lenient in week 1. If you were well below, I didn't start taking off points yet. However, starting this week and moving forward, if you are significantly below the 150 words, you will start seeing a deduction in the points part of the discussion forum. So if you're only a few words off, don't worry about it. I know sometimes it's hard to get right on the mark or right around there, so I don't worry if you're just a few words below. So you want to try to aim for about 150. So your prompt is, what will completing a degree do for you in light of your dream job? And what will earning a degree mean to you and your family? So chapter 1 does talk about, the benefits of a degree and all the different facets, not just career purposes. But you are going to, as a reminder, to post, you click on the name of the discussion forum, you click create thread, put the subject, post it, and hit submit. Okay, so when you do so, it'll post into the discussion forum, and then you are able to go in and respond to classmates from there. So please make sure that you post your original response by Wednesday for week 2 attendance, and then respond to 2 classmates by Sunday. And a response is a meaningful response, not just I agree or okay or good job, a sentence. Asking a question, building off of, comparing to, or anything like that, that helps connect to another classmate. All right, so that's the chapter 1 discussion. Here is your first assignment for chapter 1. It's called Colleges and Expectations. For this, you're just going to click in here, and it's going to repeat those questions that you just saw on the other side. And you're just going to type your answer right in here. You don't have to go anywhere else for this. Click Write Submission, and then you can see there are 4 questions. So you can just type right in here. Question 1, how far away do you want to live from your hometown? Will you be able to drive or fly? If already graduated, how far are you willing to relocate for a career? So the first part of the question is basically if you're like a CCP student, talking about going to college, because if you're not going to go to Sauk State, where are you thinking? If you already graduated and you're here as a traditional student, meaning that you are already out of high school, then are you willing to relocate for a career? How far? Why not? Question 2, this applies to everyone. What college extracurriculars are you interested in? What clubs or organizations, or for CCP students like sports, that you currently participate in that you will try to continue here? For this, I would recommend going to the Stark State homepage, info for current students, and looking at a list of our student clubs. You can click right here, and it is going to give you a list of all the organizations that we have on campus. And you can see some of these are for fun, like the book club, comic book club, the Gamers Guild, and then some of them are really connected to your majors, such as Criminal Justice Association, the Human and Social Services Association. So I would recommend like looking through there and just be familiar, like see if anything catches your eye, and talk about maybe if you would be willing to join any of those, especially as they, kind of relate to your field. Are you interested in, doesn't necessarily mean you have to join them. What are you interested in? What could you maybe take a look at, think about joining in the future? Question 3, it says, what size college or university do you want to attend? A large school, smaller school? That's if you are a CCP student. If you're a current college student, are you planning on transferring? Or after you leave Stark State, are you going for a 4-year degree? So kind of talking about what you're doing after. And then question 4 is just if you are a current CCP student. If you are a current traditional college student, meaning you're already done out of high school, you do not need to do number 4. But if you're a CCP student, create a list of 10 colleges or universities that you're interested in attending after high school. And there's some links that you can go to help you figure out which ones, or you might already have a good little list to kind of build from. All right, so those 4 questions, and again, how you answer those might depend a little bit on basically if you're a current high school student or if you are already out of high school and you're more of that traditional college student. So you'll just type your answers to those 4 right in the right submission area and then hit submit. All right, after you submit that, you have another Chapter 1 assignment. It's called The Differences Between High School and College. You are going to open up, this is a PDF, it's going to open up in a separate window. And then it has all of the information here in this column about high school, like just very general, like here's what to expect, or here's what you're going through, or you have already experienced in high school. And then how is college going to differ? And you can base it off of your experience so far or what you think. And then don't forget, you can look at Chapter 1 and look and see, the first year of college, what to expect, expectations. So there are sections in your book that can help you with this if you don't know. So you can base it off your own experience or go into the textbook and look to see what the textbook has to say about this. So when you're going through, you'll type right in there. And then when you are done answering kind of high school versus college, and all the way through, you're going to go ahead and download it and make sure you do so with your changes. If you do so without, then it's not going to save anything you typed. So with your changes, save it to your desktop or to your folder or whatever you want to save it to. So I'm going to hit save. Then I will click in the name of the assignment. I'm going to browse my files because I saved it as a file. Highlight where it is, hit open. It's not going to let me do it because I'm not a student, but you go through that process. Okay, so that's how you submit that particular assignment, and it's done right there in that PDF that you can edit. Okay, so basically you're just looking at the differences between high school and college. And some of you have fresh perspective because you're a current high school student. Some of you might have to think back, base your high school experience, and then how is college going to differ in these specific areas. Teachers, parents, and coaches remind you of assignments, tests, and important dates. That's how high school works. How does college work? Now, in some of these cases, it might be very similar, and you can kind of point that out, be like, this still happens in college with this exception. Or, so you can talk about how it might be parallel in some cases. All right, so that's the 3rd assignment. And then the very last thing that you're going to do is the Chapter 1 quiz. This is a Microsoft Word document. So you're going to click on that and it's going to open up into a Word doc, and it is going to, here we go, have 5 questions. This is short answer, and these are all based on Chapter 1. So what I'm asking of you is to answer in 2 to 5 complete sentences. So we're not doing bullet points or fragments. It is 2 to 5 complete sentences, and make sure you answer all parts of the question. So question 1 talks about motivation. What can you do now to design a plan to remember your purpose? Like when you get kind of overwhelmed or stressed, what can you do to help remember why you're coming to college, help with that motivation? Question 2 talks about transitions, like high school to college, or adolescence to teenage to adulthood, from single to married, anything like that. Based on previous experiences, how well have you managed past life transitions? what went well, what could you have done differently, and how can you apply that to college? Because no matter what point you are in, especially if this is truly your first semester, this is a transition, you know, your time, your effort, your energy. So how can you apply what you know and how you've been through to the college situation? Question 3 talks about if you are experiencing lower grades than expected, how can you move forward and consider emotional, academic, and intellectual areas of adjustment? Your chapter 1 talks about that. So if you need to go back into looking at your chapter, find those areas it talks about adjustments, like right here, adjustments to college. Here it is, academic, cultural, emotional. It goes through all these different adjustments. So that question is specifically asking you to consider those areas. Question 4, this relates right back to the assignment we just talked about, the differences between high school and college, and how could you support, or what advice would you give to someone who is struggling with that transition. And question 5 talks about self-awareness. So as you go through these questions, your goal is to respond with some of your own personal experience, and then maybe bring in some of what the textbook has said about that particular topic. So make sure you answer in complete sentences, 2 to 5, and address all parts. And then the same thing, you want to save this file, go into Blackboard, click on the name of the assignment, browse, find wherever it is, hit open, and then hit submit. Now I will tell you, when you go to the Dropbox, if you cannot see the assignment, I definitely cannot see the assignment. Also, I will let you know that sometimes Chromebooks and MacBooks do not communicate with Blackboard the best way. And so if I send you an email back and say, I'm so sorry, I cannot open this file, if you have a MacBook or a Chromebook, that is probably why. If you see a 0 in the assignment, even though you submitted something, check my comments, check my messages, make sure you know, because every once in a while that does occur. So just keep that in mind as you go through to submit some of these assignments. For the Microsoft Word, if you have a Chromebook or a MacBook, if you are able to put it into a PDF format or something along those lines, that might be your best bet. All right, so as a real quick recap, you are, for this week, posting in the Chapter 1 discussion forum by Wednesday for Week 2 attendance, respond to 2 classmates by Sunday, and then you're completing both Chapter 1 assignments and the Chapter 1 quiz by Sunday as well. Please reach out if you have any questions, and have a great week.